Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We are proud and excited to be here with Stephanie Mason from CHPS and Dana Davis from Ecore International to talk about this exciting new partnership between CHPS and Sustainable Minds to promote product transparency in high-performance schools. The agenda for today is Stephanie is going to talk about the work going on at CHPS and how members benefit from that work and how school districts benefit from that work, and why product transparency is now part of the CHPS rating system, and a little bit about why Stephanie reached out to Sustainable Minds to put this partnership together. Then I'm going to talk about our transparency products, where the transparency catalog is one of the transparency products that we offer. I'm going to do a demo and talk a little bit more broadly about our intent as a company. And then we'll pass it over to Dana from Ecore International, who her company has been a member of CHPS, and she's a new customer of Sustainable Minds, and their listing went live today, which I will show everyone and do a demo. Dana will talk about Ecore International's commitment to product transparency and why. All of you have been on webinars before, I'm pretty certain. We'll be monitoring the questions panel, and I'll be directing those questions to the appropriate person in real time if it makes sense to answer them kind of in the context of the flow. Otherwise, send in your questions and we'll get onto them at the end of our presentations. And if we don't get to them all, we will absolutely follow up with you and get those questions or inquiries answered. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie Mason from CHPS to talk about the work they're doing over there.
Yay. First of all, let me thank everyone for attending. Looks like I have good attendance, so hopefully you'll find this to be a useful webinar and the start of a collaborative effort among us all to help build better schools, because that's what CHPS is all about. A little bit about me to start off. I am the CHPS Technical Director, responsible for all things technical at CHPS. I've been with CHPS for about 2.5 years as a staff member, and prior to that I was on both the environmental quality and the materials and waste subcommittees of the CHPS Technical Committee. I did that for several years, so I've been involved with CHPS for quite a while now. In general, I have a background in environmental chemistry and material science, which makes me particularly interested in the transparency documents. It fits right into my, or the transparency declarations fits right into my areas of interest, in particular within the broader interest of sustainability. Broad areas. All right. Please forgive me, I got to get used to the controls here. All right, now that you've all seen my slides in advance. So, assuming you've all seen the announcement about the partnership, and so I just want to give a little background on why the partnership with Sustainable Minds, and in particular, why now? So we have an interest in CHPS of getting back to our core mission. We want to focus our resources and efforts on being able to provide tools and resources, directly to schools and those who work on designing, constructing, maintaining schools to to improve them and make them high performance. So we want to focus on that core mission, and I'll go into details in this a little later. And as part of that, we are sunsetting the CHPS high performance database, high performance products database. At the time the database came out, originally it was for low emitting products. It was expanded to cover other sustainable attributes of materials. And at the time it was very useful. However, a lot of the information is more readily available now, and there are new product databases such as Sustainable Minds coming out, and we decided it'd be better to leverage the expertise of these other product databases and certification organizations rather than CHPS trying to maintain a database, so we could, again, focus on our core mission. And in particular, the reason for the partnership with Sustainable Minds is that in the new CHPS criteria, there are now credits for environmental product declarations, EPDs, and product health information reporting, which I'm going to refer to as HPDs, but that doesn't mean specifically the health product declarations from the HPD collaborative. So I'm using it loosely. Okay, and I'm going to go into this. So these new credits have been out since 2013, and there's really a need to provide resources to help the AEC community find these products now, because we're starting to see projects registering under the new criteria. So it's really important now. It's a time critical. So for those of you who are not familiar with CHPS, just a little background. CHPS is the collaborative for high performance schools, and again, C is collaborative. It's not California. As I'll show later, there are CHPS criteria throughout the U.S. now, so we really are not just a national organization in terms of our structure, but also in terms of the resources that we provide. Okay. CHPS was founded in 1999 in California, specifically looking at energy efficiency in schools initially. CHPS is still solely focused on K through 12 educational facilities, but now we look at all aspects of school design, construction, and operation. So water, indoor environmental quality, materials, and waste as where this fills in. We provide a broad array of tools and resources for K through 12 schools, and I'll show that a little later. And we're a member-based organization. School districts join for free. And again, as I said, we're a national company that serves all 50 states, not just California. Good. So I want to go back to our, the CHPS core mission, and really the heart of why we're having this webinar right now. You may have seen that, CHPS, our mission is to make every school an ideal place to learn. So what does that really mean? CHPS has been on a mission for over 15 years to nationally foster well-designed, operated, and maintained K through 12 educational facilities that enhance student performance, positively impact student, teacher, and staff health and wellness, make education more enjoyable and rewarding, and promote positive environmental stewardship. We're on a mission to overcome the detrimental effects of an aging school infrastructure coupled with insufficient funding to build, maintain, and operate K through 12 schools in almost every state. It's a mission to retain teachers and staff and overcome the damaging effects of climate change and create resilient community-centric facilities. So it's a big mission, okay? There's a lot we want to be able to do. And so So because of that, when there's expertise we can leverage in different areas, such as database, we want to be able to do that so we can really focus on that core mission. And the next image, I mean, this is what CHPS is all about. It's about the children. We want to make sure that they're in school, that they have the best environment possible. We want to minimize school days missed due to asthma, and materials definitely contribute there, or potentially contribute to that. And so, again, why the HPD information is of particular interest. So just a little high-level statement about our schools and our impact. We've been able already, we have over 300 schools have been recognized for meeting the CHPS criteria, and that's probably closer to 350, and we have several hundred more currently in process. And it's been adopted by over 50 school districts. And we see CHPS not just as a criteria, but using it as a teaching tool. So using the school as the school building itself as a learning tool. And again, so I'm just trying to emphasize, our mission and what we're really trying to do. It's a it's a very big, broad picture. So let's again just some information. I keep mentioning high performance schools. I just want to say what that means. It's a school that enhances the performance. That's what we want. We want the students to perform better. We want the staff also to perform better. That's how students perform better. And we want education to be more enjoyable and rewarding. At the same time, we also want to minimize any negative environmental impacts. So that leads us into the CHPS priorities. It's first and foremost to protect student and staff health. We want to enhance the learning environment, but we want to do that while being good stewards of the environment. We want to conserve energy, water, and other resources. And this also helps reduce operating costs, which again allows more money to go into maintaining a good environment. And thirdly, we want to minimize waste, pollution, and any damage to the surrounding environment. Okay, but we're really focusing on CHPS priority number 1 when we're looking at these product databases. And just giving some background on CHPS. These are our core values. We believe all schools can be high performance, so not just new construction, but also existing buildings. And again, we want to be able to put resources there to help schools that are in underserved communities, as well as new and existing, and materials cut across both sets of schools, public, private, and again, all levels K through 12. We understand schools are unique environments. Again, we have a very sensitive population there with the students. And I'm not going to read the rest of it, but the idea is that we think the schools, high-performance schools, can bring real benefits, and that's what we want to focus on. So we're looking to connect conditions inside the building or surrounding the building to the outcomes. And materials plays a role in here in the school design, the materials that go in to the building. Again, their chemical makeup or their environmental um, declarations, their environmental impact. You show up at the very base at the school design, and we want to look at, and we want to improve the material so that we have the best outcomes with students and teachers both. So I'm just going to show you, so CHPS has a whole range of tools and recognition. Again, we have run the gamut from new schools, existing schools, and as well as prefabricated modular classrooms. We have a range of tools, which is our criteria, our best practices, manuals, and I'll discuss that a little bit at the end. Our operations report card, which is a benchmarking tool, our pre-approval program for prefab. So this is the area that we really want to be able to focus on, is in improving these tools and resources, expanding them. We're updating the CHPS criteria this year, will be released next year, the core criteria. So we really want to be able to spend the time doing that and not running databases. You can see that in this next diagram there. That's the section we want to be able to focus on. Okay, so I'm going to do a little transition here from over to the CHPS criteria, and this is where the new credits for EPDs and HPDs come in. So we have the CHPS criteria. You can see here it's now national with our US CHPS. There are still regional versions, but it is national. Quickly, we have the 7 categories, materials and waste management being one of them, and the one that's of interest here for our products. Sorry. Terry doesn't seem to want to advance. Oh, sorry. Oh, there we go. So we have new credits for product transparency and product health information reporting. With the new CHPS criteria, we have a core criteria, and all versions of criteria based on the core criteria, so that's the Northeast, California, Texas. Any CHPS criteria version 2013 or later is always going to be using the same designations. So environmental product declarations will always be MW 7.1. If that criteria is elevated to a prerequisite, it'll be 7.0, but it will always be MW 7.1 or 0. The same goes for the product health information reporting. It will now be MW 10.1, or again, if it's a prerequisite, 0. So I just want to point that out because that's the new numbering system. So when you hear me say MW 7.1 or MW 10.1, it's always going to refer to these 2 credits. So this is what the credits look like. This is MW 7.1 for the environmental product declarations. And within the body of the credit, we lay down the requirements for meeting the credit. Where the Sustainable Minds product database comes in is that we listed it's a resource. The transparency catalog is a resource for finding products that comply with the requirements in the credit. The same is true for MW 10.1. The HPDs may be a little hard to read, but we lay out the compliance, the acceptable compliance pathways within the credit. So we have the cradle to cradle, for example, V2 silver or above, or cradle to cradle V3 bronze or above, the declare labels. I'm not going to read them all, but those are included within the Sustainable Minds transparency catalog, which is why we're able to then direct people here to the resource for where you can find this information. So just a little background. So the high performance product database that CHPS currently has, it's not just for EPDs and HPDs. Actually, it's really, there's low emitting materials and other environmental attributes such as recycled content, FSC certification, things of that nature. And we were just starting to look at adding the EPDs and the HPDs. However, the database, to be able to do that in a really robust manner, would require adding additional product categories and certifiers and certifications, and it would really entail a rather large update to the product database. So again, rather than expending our efforts there, where we're looking to some organizations such as Sustainable Minds for their transparency catalog. And the idea of having the product database was to help project teams find products that meet the CHPS criteria. And so with moving to this partnership, we'll still be able to do that, at least for the EPDs and HPDs. And I'll get into it. We're going to work on developing other partnerships to help find other credits. Again, the database was designed to educate users about the environmental impacts of product selection. We will still provide that type of information on the CHPS website. So again, the goal was to have a place where people could find products that meet the CHPS criteria. So when we're looking to partner with organizations with existing product databases, there are some elements that are part of that search. It needs to be, we want it to be an online database. And one of the requirements is the product search is free, because on the CHPS high performance product database, it was free to go in and search, and we want to maintain that. We don't want to partner and then have a requirement that you have to pay a fee to be able to search. Okay. The database should include attributes that are included in the CHPS criteria, and where the attribute claims are via approved pathways in the CHPS criteria. Ideally, the database should have multiple product types, as well as cover multiple certification verification organizations. We really want it to be organization neutral. For example, in the Sustainable Minds transparency catalog, there's EPDs from UL, NXF, other organizations. And these are all EPDs that are accepted in the CHPS criteria. So this is to give you a basis for what we're looking for in CHPS in these partnerships, because we still want to maintain the same type of resource to our members as before. So this is our first partnership. It's with the SN Sustainable Minds, in particular their transparency catalog. And one of the reasons we started here is, as I mentioned, the newness of the CHPS criteria for EPDs and HPDs. And also, there's more, the information for the other attributes is more readily available because they've been around longer. So trying to find information on low emitting materials or recycled content. So it may still take some effort. It's it's more mainstream than the EPDs and HPDs. The other thing with starting with the EPDs and HPDs is that it gives a base. So if an AEC that is looking for products and they're interested in EPDs and HPDs, they can start there and then look for products that also have some of the other attributes they're looking for, because there's more likely to be, for the products that have the EPDs or HPDs, to have these other certifications or attribute validations than going the other direction. One of the things, again, we liked about the SM catalog is that it did cover, transparency catalog, is that it covered the multiple product types and declarations from multiple sources that are approved in the CHPS criteria. One thing I want to point out is that as part of the partnership, CHPS, we're offering a benefit to CHPS members where they get a discount on their product listings in the SM Transparency Catalog. And we're doing this because we want to encourage these listings, because we want more products out there so that the AEC community can find them. You know, we want to have a robust list of products that can be easily found in spec. Terry may go into this in more detail in her section. And again, we have more to come. This is our first partnership. It is no means our last. We're looking at this so we can free up our resources, so we can update our CHPS best practices manual, which provides guidance from everything from planning, design, operation and maintenance, commissioning, even prefab for schools, high performance schools. Another one is the CHPS operation report card, which is our benchmarking program, so you can assess the status of your school for the energy efficiency, water conservation. Again, our CHPS prefab update, pre-approval program. So that's where we want to be spending our resources. And we see this partnership as allowing us to do this. So thank you so much for your participation. If you have any questions, please enter them in the box and we'll be answering them all at the end. So thank you, Terry.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. The work that you guys do is really important, and with a pretty small team, you have a very broad purview and a lot of very active members, and it's impressive the impact you've been able to have. And so, again, we're particularly honored to, one, be your first partnership and do a good job for your members. But the story I'm going to tell you today is how Sustainable Minds, transparency products, and our transparency catalog are designed both to help your member manufacturers design and market their greener, higher performing products, but also for your AEC audience and constituents to start to understand why product transparency is really, we call it the new green, and that it was pretty insightful, I think, for CHPS and the other rating systems to kind of elevate product transparency to really start bringing manufacturers attention to measuring what matters. And so now that there are all these tools to measure what matters, both from environmental performance and material ingredients, the challenge is for everyone is to understand what the data means. So how can a manufacturer use the data from these analyses, the LCAs, the material ingredient, rating system results, and disclosures? How can they drive that information back into their product development and manufacturing processes to credibly bring higher performing, healthier products to the market, and then tell meaningful stories to the marketplace about what they're actually doing to improve? So bringing credible data and wrapping it in a way to deliver it that makes it understandable and meaningful, and combines this new product transparency information with all of the other attributes that people need to understand to make decisions about products, will be what brings product transparency mainstream. And at Sustainable Minds, for 3 years now, we've been saying, look, product transparency it's new, it's challenging, it's technical, it's expensive, but at the end of the day, for a manufacturer, it does build a credibly greener brand, but not by just producing disclosures. That the value for manufacturers to provide environmental information about their products comes from demonstrating that they actually understand what the data means and they know what they're doing. So they're not kind of going through the motions of producing technical information and then just kind of tossing it out there into the marketplace, but bringing it back into their consideration about products so that the data can be ascribed to actions that they're taking. Because once AECs believe that manufacturers are making higher performing, greener and healthier products and have the data to substantiate it and the explanation to make that data make sense, that's what creates preference and value for a brand. And that's what's going to drive leadership in the marketplace. And, let's connect the dots to sales. And, let's not be coy about it. Manufacturers are producing product transparency information like they're producing any other kind of marketing tool to respond to demand in the marketplace and to help their sales and their partners and their distributors create preference for their products and for their brands. So today, I'm going to say that we're out of the very early adoption phase of product transparency and we're into the early mainstream. So there's a lot of manufacturers who got started, who said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm not sure I understand it entirely, but I'm going to do it because I'm going to get on board with it. And because people have gotten started, there's a whole set of challenges that have arisen, which are one, I already talked about, technical disclosures aren't easy to understand for architects, builders, and contractors. And moreover, as Stephanie, you spoke about, they're not easy to find. They're in different program operators, different rating systems, databases. They're all PDFs. They're sometimes on manufacturers' websites, but not necessarily linked to the product information. And the manufacturers who have invested in them, now that others are laying down the same amount of money to get a declare label or an HPD or even do an EPD, those in and of themselves are not differentiators. And so how do they maintain that early mover advantage? How do they leverage those investments into sales? How do they operationalize the development and the use in training and distribution? And the bottom line is most AECs will go to a manufacturer's website first to look for products or product information. And this is part of that findability problem, is that today manufacturers' websites had never been designed in contemplation of adding this kind of information. And so, this information kind of gets added in silos, and they're sometimes linked, thinly, but the most common scenario is a manufacturer will have a product section of their site, a sustainability section, and sometimes disclosures will be their own section, or there'll be a page within the sustainability section where the user, someone who's looking for products, might go to the product section, but then have to go to this disclosure section to download the PDFs, whether it's an EPD or an HPD or a manufacturer's inventory. And often they can't even really figure out which disclosures go with which products. So, while manufacturers as early adopters, have invested and are really trying to do the right thing in the marketplace, and there's just all of these kind of challenges of understandability and findability. And so Sustainable Minds transparency products are next generation marketing tools that turn disclosure into brand value by integrating product transparency into product marketing. And they're specifically designed to inform greener and healthier purchase decisions by combining everything somebody needs to know to make a purchase decision: functional performance, environmental performance, in one place, delivering the information in an understandable and meaningful way for non-technical readers, and uniquely providing the value add of integrated explanation and improvement stories that disclosures don't report. Now creating, effective standardized sales tools for salespeople to use, distributors, partners to find, and for people to self-serve. And our products, our transparency products, are designed to be found both in the manufacturer's website and in the transparency catalog. So we have 3 transparency products. Our transparency report is our brand of EPD. It is an ISO 14025 Type 3 environmental declaration. ISO says you can call it whatever you want. We called ours a transparency report. These are all cloud-based reports. So as we move into the need for information to be digital, and that digital information to be used in other kinds of reporting tools, calculators, models, we've got to move away from PDFs and get data into the cloud. And so once we finish the design of our environmental product declaration type of report, we turned our attention to the material ingredient side and created our material health overview. And then finally, for manufacturers who have done one or more types of disclosures and have been early adopters, to kind of roll it all up into our new performance fact sheet. And I'll quickly show you what those look like. And they're all delivered in this brand showroom that integrates with the manufacturer's website and can also be found in the transparency catalog. So the building block starts with page 1 of the transparency report that has everything somebody needs to know to make a purchase decision. And key is this performance dashboard that lists all the features and functions, the environmental performance information, links into the manufacturer's website for more product data. It's 3 pages. All the LCA results, the interpretation, what the manufacturer is doing to improve value in the rating systems is page 2. And then again, uniquely, page 3 is designed for the manufacturer to be able to talk about what they're doing to improve in any or all stages of the product's life cycle. So it's a 3-page cloud-based report. That's it. It's never more than 3 pages. And it's this description, this content requirement we created first for the transparency report, that's now the basis for the Program Operator Consortium Part A for creating PCRs. It's the same content requirements. So we are working our way to creating a standardized set of data to report in Type 3 environmental declarations that's really concise and helps people make understandable and meaningful decisions. Our material health overview is based on that building block of page 1 of the transparency report and designed to answer the questions that AECs want answered pretty quickly, which is, what's the product made of? Are there any hazardous ingredients? If yes, how bad are they? Are there any exposure concerns? And what's the company doing to improve? The left side of the page provides a description of the program and the technical results. The right side of the page is the interpretation. How was this rating achieved? What's in the product and why? And what the manufacturer is doing to improve, and then the value in the rating systems. And we've created a version of that report for each type of material ingredient report that is identified in CHPS and the other green building rating systems. They each report something a little bit differently, and so that you can see the visual results of the reports are a little bit different, and the interpretation is written a little bit differently too. And then finally, our performance fact sheet is about helping manufacturers who have created lots of disclosures get everything all in one place: product information, environmental performance information, links to all the disclosures. This can be done at the product group level, and then value in the rating systems. And again, all in the cloud, allowing people to click into the disclosure, but to see the key attributes that help them understand what's going to be in the report, or key attributes of the material ingredients to help them in a glance, without having to go into the disclosure, recognize whether material ingredient disclosure meets the criteria for earning credits in the various rating systems. And again, they're all delivered through a brand showroom in the manufacturer's website, or now in the transparency catalog. And what's unique about the transparency catalog is that it's made up of all the brands who have products with transparency information. It's not all the products from all those brands. It's just the ones they've opted to invest in creating transparency information for. And so when we answer the question, why would you create a catalog just of transparency, products with transparency information? Our answer is this. We believe it's actually the filter that identifies the best products from the best manufacturers. It's based on our experience. Manufacturers are creating transparency information for either their most popular products, which make them their best products, and therefore they can invest in them. The products that actually are greener or healthier because they're doing things to improve. Or the third scenario is simply that they have nothing to hide, and they want to be able to make that statement, we are absolutely transparent, and have at it. Our commitment is simple and easy to use. Simple, easy to use, no login, no advertising, no sponsored content. And the biggest thing is to provide the opportunity for the AEC community to get involved, to create this virtuous cycle of supply and demand for healthier and greener products. And we like to say in a carrot kind of way. And that's in contrast to in the past, where AECs have kind of laid down the gauntlet to manufacturers and said, look, we're not going to specify your products if you don't provide this information. What we've done is we've created an environment where a user can go in to a manufacturer's free listing and suggest to that manufacturer that they add their products. So I'm going to do a very quick demo. I want to point out that this is just the stage one, version one of the catalog, where on the front page we wanted to just display every manufacturer who's done something, whether it's create environmental reporting or material ingredient reporting, one or the other, so that the AEC industry can start seeing there are a lot of brands who have gotten started. So let's get them all in one place. This is the next version that's coming in the next in this quarter, where once we have a critical mass of manufacturers and their products, we'll be adding the filtering. And there's only 3 use cases. Again, it's super simple. Find all products from a brand, find all products from a brand in a product category, and then find all products from brands in a product category that meet specific rating system requirements. We have 4 levels of listings. We only actually have one level that a manufacturer can purchase, and you can see it's pretty low cost, $2,500 a year for unlimited products and unlimited links. But we have all of these free listings that provide a presence for that manufacturer to let folks know they have products with transparency information, and we're looking for the AEC community to encourage them to come and add their products. And if you go to the catalog and click on any of the freemium links, there's a link that says AEC Professional. If you know this brand, please invite them to add their products to the catalog. And it's not a spam link. You have to know the manufacturer, you have to have an email address, but it does everybody a favor. It gets the product into the catalog, and it gets the manufacturer's products in front of an audience that cares. This type of listing, and this is the listing that Ecore has gone live today, and Dana's going to talk a little bit about it, does a bunch of things for the manufacturer and for the AECs. It links to the website. It allows you to contact them, either call or email. It allows you to see all their products. It allows you to click on the product information, go to their website. For that information, click on any of the links to the disclosures that they have, get that information. And for the manufacturer, they can add their own Google Analytics tracking code to the page so they can keep track of who's going to the page, how often. It's a great sales tool for their sales, distributors, partners. And it's just customizable enough to be distinctive, but make it really easy to use. I'm going to wrap up with simply saying we have some very strong commitments to the ownership of data, the ownership of analytics. Your data is your data. We don't add any products or data that haven't been provided by the rating system or the manufacturer. We will never sell analytics to any third parties. We will share activity in the general marketplace, again, because we're trying to drive this virtuous cycle. And at the end of the day, at the end of the year, we are planning to, every year, contribute a portion of the proceeds to the National Park Foundation as a reminder that, green building is in service to a larger idea, which is to preserve the environment. So again, multiple points of entry. You're going to find manufacturers' products either through their website or through the catalog. And we truly believe that products with transparency information put the best filter over a manufacturer's products, and all the other criteria, recycled content, any other certifications that are available for that product category are also likely to be the ones they've created transparency information for. So you'll find that information through the transparency catalog and also get access to all the other certifications and rating systems. We have an extensive partnership, got lots of folks already coming to the catalog, and it's a good segue to Dana to talk about Ecore and how the catalog is a platform both for finding products, but for educating the market on manufacturers who are producing products with transparency information, why, and the value and what they're actually doing. Dana, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dana Davis. I'm the marketing analyst here at Ecore. I started Ecore about 3.5 years ago, and I'm focused on creating, managing all the environmental and transparency documents we do here at Ecore. So that includes LEED, CHPS, floor score, EPDs, HPDs, mindful materials, Google Porticio, and the list could go on and on. So a little bit about Ecore. Here at Ecore, we like to say that we've been born green. We started all the way back in 1871 making cork closures, which during the 1900s evolved into cork flooring. And then around the 1980s, we started experimenting with recycled rubber as a raw material for flooring. So today we divert over 80 million pounds of truck tires per year from landfills, and we upcycle them into high-performance surfacing that makes people's life better through ergonomic, safety, and acoustic attributes. These products range from basic recycled rubber to fusion bonded products that feature vinyl, turf, virgin rubber, and even carpet. These products solve complex problems and applications from playgrounds, weight rooms, turf fields, hospitals, hotels, and retail environments. There's a lot of markets we operate in. We're a US-based company, but we sell products internationally throughout the world. Our manufacturing facilities are in Lancaster and York, Pennsylvania. They're amazingly beautiful, really cool facilities. We have no smokestacks, we use very little water, and my favorite part about Ecore and the whole process is that we really have virtually no manufacturing waste. All the rubber scrap that we have can be rescreened and put back into the process to create even more flooring. I also want to mention that we're the U.S. distributor of Polyfloor vinyl products. Polyfloor is based in Manchester, England, and they're a major manufacturer of all different types of commercial floor coverings. But here in the U.S., we distribute primarily their vinyl products. So Ecore has been a member of CHPS for about 5 years. We joined because education is a really important market for us, and the CHPS desire to bring sustainable products into schools align perfectly with our values. Currently, we have 2 products listed in the CHPS database, EcoService and Everlast, and we chose those products because they're our primary products in the education market. CHPS has been like a very successful partnership for us. We've gotten leads directly from the database, but also when we're contacting schools directly, CHPS has been a great tool to verify us as someone who offers safe products for schools. And this wasn't just limited to the education market. We also found that the CHPS name kind of had power in corporate and multifamily as well. So I'm really excited that CHPS and Sustainable Minds are partnering on the transparency catalog, because I feel like both programs do a good job of providing some clarity, especially right now there's so much confusion and greenwashing. I think having a partnership like this really clarifies that, and it makes it a lot easier to find products in one place and make some informed decisions. Also a great benefit as a manufacturer is on the Sustainable Minds database, as Terry talked about, you can have unlimited amount of product listings for $2,500, which is an amazing value when you're someone like Ecore, and we list over 30 products now on the catalog. But I would have to say my favorite part is the tracking through the Google Analytics. It really helps to really show how many leads you're getting from both these partnerships. So this is our brand new, as of this morning, catalog listing that we're really excited about. As I mentioned, we have over 30 products listed on here, but today I'm going to focus on ForestRx and TerrainRx. They're some of my favorite products that we offer. So Forest and TerrainRx are very similar products that we partner with Polyfloor on. So what they are, it's a 2mm vinyl wear layer that we get from Polyfloor that we fusion bond to our 5mm recycled rubber backing, which is actually a patent process, which is really cool. The hybrid product is awesome. It combines the beauty and cleanability and all the benefits of vinyl with the cool benefits of recycled rubber, which are safety, ergonomics, acoustics, and the list can go on. And these products, Forest and Terrain, the real difference between them is visually. ForestRx is wood visuals, whereas TerrainRx is more concrete and linen textural visuals. But both products were pitching into the healthcare, senior care, fitness, and hospitality markets. Basically anywhere where you could expect heavy commercial use. So some of the benefits of Forest and TerrainRx, acoustically, Forest and Terrain have achieved a delta IIC of 23 decibels, and a study conducted by the University of Hartford deemed that these products are as quiet as carpet. So why is acoustics important? Acoustics in healthcare, hospitality, and multifamily is hugely important because noise has become the #1 complaint in these markets. And the World Health Organization has linked this to has linked excessive noise to health concerns like sleep disturbance, cardiovascular, and psychophysiological effects. And rubber is something that's inherently better at reducing structure-borne sound transmission. So when you pair that with vinyl, like we do here at Forest and Train RX, it really makes a huge impact. Another great thing that Forest and Train does well is safety. That product reduces the impact acceleration of 35%, which means it's mitigating the severity of injuries associated with falls. So we find that's really important in our healthcare and senior care markets, where reducing injuries from falls reduces unbudgeted and non-reimbursable treatment charges, as well as helping protect the patients that are already not doing well because they're in the senior care facility or in the healthcare facility. And finally, ergonomics is another great benefit to this product. So we pitch Forest and Train every day to people who are on their feet all day long, like nurses, doctors, pharmacists, concierge. So what Forest RX and Train RX does is it has a balance of force reduction and energy restitution, meaning that it absorbs the impact force while still returning some energy. So it's encouraging people to stand on the balls of their feet instead of the heels of their feet, which prevents compression in the back of the legs. Ergonomics is hugely important because it has a direct correlation to the physical and emotional health of an employee, which then impacts productivity, quality of service, less absenteeism, less workman comps, and overall improvement in the quality of life. So sort of the green, transparency, sustainability attributes of Forest RX are also impressive as well because it has that recycled rubber backing. It's 65% post-consumer recycled content. It's Floor Score certified. We have EPDs and HPDs for this product, and at the end of its service life, Ecore can take that product back, grind it down in entirety, and use the ground up material in a backing for future products. So I just want to talk a little bit about Ecore's transparency journey. We started back in 2013 when LEED version 4 had begun adding these disclosure as credit options. We felt that health product declarations and environmental product declarations fit the best with our mission and values. And around that same time, we started receiving letters from the AEC community specifying that they would give primary placement to manufacturers that had these disclosure documents. So it was becoming very apparent to us that these disclosures would be important in the future, and we wanted to jump on the train right away. The requests were largely coming from our commercial market versus our sport and fitness market, so we decided to focus on commercial, including education, healthcare, senior living, hospitality, and corporate on the products we pitched to those markets. Definitely demand for these transparency I've seen grown every year since we first started. I see the biggest trend going right now in the healthcare market, which they have rigorous standards for, regarding both health and environmental impact of products. Kind of what we learned along the way is, it's kind of ironic actually, one of our most sustainable attributes of our product, which is the recycled content, can actually hurt us when it comes to these disclosure documents. We have products like the one you see here, Ultra Tile, that's comprised up to 92% post-consumer recycled content because our primary raw material is recycled truck tires. But with a recycled product, you don't always know where it started, so it's hard to track that chain of custody, and some disclosures have penalized us because of that. But despite that challenge, we found that both EPDs and HPDs have served as great support documents for showing our minimal environmental and health impacts. Just in conclusion, I just wanted to mention some of the trends I see coming. I've noticed in the last couple of years, there's just been a lot of greenwashing and sort of confusion in the marketplace, even confusion in what the word sustainability means at all. And I think the introduction of these disclosures have done a good job of showing which companies are truly sustainable through transparency. And I think this is just going to continue to evolve and kind of get more rigorous and get a lot more interesting. So I'm excited to see what that might look like. I also see a lot more of these partnerships like CHPS and Sustainable Minds are starting, because there are all these different programs now, but I think when they partner, it creates a really strong bond that adds validity and clarity to a process when there are so many different options out there. And Ecore kind of wants to continue to be a part of that, to keep up with all these new partnerships and programs and trends. And then this year, our real focus is on incorporating corporate social responsibility into our sustainability story.
Well, Dana, thank you so much for sharing your story and Ecore's story. It's really wonderfully surprising to see the beautiful products that get made from rubber and cork. And the fact that you can take it all back at the end of life and do it all over again is just a fantastic story. It's what really everybody wants to hear. So, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for making your products available. We're at our time, and I don't see that we have any questions that are of burning import. What I did want to do, though, before signing off, was do a very quick demo of the catalog and show you Ecore's live listing. And what you'll see is on every catalog listing, if this links to the manufacturer's website, you can contact them. And when a manufacturer has a lot of products in any one category, we put them all into really easy to open and close sections. And in any section, you can select a product, go to the manufacturer's website to learn more about the product, click on the EPD link, and depending on how you have your browser set up, you can either download that EPD or have it open in another tab. Same thing with the HPD, but what I want to show you is, because the HPD is so technical, and what we wanted to do, again, for ease of use, is bring all the parameters to the surface that people would want to know in a glance shopping for a product. The rollovers, the question marks for the HPDs, we have a different rollover for V1 and for V2, but allow you to decode the scope and the results. And the scope and results that we show are the required scope and results for knowing whether that disclosure is going to be compliant for acceptance in the rating systems. So I really invite you to, not only come and browse Ecore's listing, but here's the virtuous cycle and the assistance that we want to put out in the marketplace. If I click on any of these not bold listings, this is a freemium listing. You can go here to the manufacturer's website, because we're saying they've got products with transparency information, but they're not here. You have to visit the website. But we're telling you that they actually do have products and with some material ingredient information. And so if you're the manufacturer looking at your own page, you can contact us. But here's where we'd really like the industry's help. AEC Professional, if you like this brand, ask the manufacturer to add its products. And all this does is it launches an email, and I have my email shut down for the purposes of this webinar, but it simply opens an email link where you put in the manufacturer's address and send them a note. Take a look at your listing in the catalog and add your products, because it's going to make it a much better place for people who care to visit, but also for all of these manufacturers, and there's a lot of them, who have invested in transparency information to get their products in front of people that care. And then finally, these featured brands are the brands that have created brand showrooms and transparency reports. And instead of clicking to the manufacturer's website and to the EPD or the HPD to find their transparency information, it's now all in one place. There's the LCA results and the value in the rating systems. And in the same document are the material health results and the value in the rating systems, and then what the manufacturer is actually doing to improve. So how that will look, and this is our vision of the future, is that in the next couple of years, all manufacturers will create some kind of transparency information, a material health overview, a performance fact sheet, so that now when you go into the listing, I can click here on the product information, and instead of getting the manufacturer's website and then an EPD or declare label, I can click here and it goes directly to the transparency report where all the information you'd need to make a purchase decision can be found. So I'm going to wrap up here, and I want to thank you, everyone who registered, everyone who has stayed a little bit longer than anticipated, and particularly to Steph and Dana for putting their presentations together. Steph, we are excited to take this forward, and Dana to help you get the word out about your products in a meaningful way. This webinar has been recorded. It will be posted. The deck will be made available. You can let us know on your way out, leave a note, and I want to thank you for your time, and have a great day. Thanks, Steph and Dana.